Bill, do you want to take over?
All right. So welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Orientation Cafe for the Empathy Circle and the Facilitation Training. My name is Bill Filler. I've been working with Edwin for about 4 years in the Empathy Circle, both online and in street actions. And I am a retired special education teacher in the San Francisco Bay Area. And I'm really excited to see everyone's smiling face, some returnees and some new people. And I think that you'll have an interesting time today. So we'll go on with and we'll introduce the people who will be leading the circles or facilitating the circles is a better way to put it. And so I'll go, and if you could introduce yourself, Kathy, please.
Hi, everybody. Kathy Kidd from Houston, Texas. I've been doing the circles for a couple of months now. I love them. And I'm glad you're all here.
Great. Thank you, Kathy. Larry?
Larry in Florida. I'm a retired occupational therapist doing these empathy circles for a few months now, and I just love them. So happy to be here. Welcome, everybody.
Great. Thanks, Larry. Linda?
Yes, Linda Bass from Keller, Texas, right outside of Fort Worth. I've been doing the empathy circles for a couple of months like Kathy, and I thoroughly enjoy it. And I promise y'all will enjoy it as well.
Great. And Celine?
Hello, my name is Celine. I live in the state of Oregon in the United States. And I have a background in education and mediation. And I'm in love with the empathy circles, and I'm glad that you're here to experience them too. Thank you.
Great. And Edwin?
Yeah, Edwin Rudge from the San Francisco Bay Area, and I've been working on topic of empathy for about 14 years. And I just find the empathy circle is the easiest first step gateway practice for learning empathy and listening skills. And I want to teach everyone in the world, 8 billion people, how to take part. So that's, yeah.
Great. And so we'll go through the outline for this session in just a second. But today, this is going to introduce you to the empathy circle practice. And what I think you will find that's different between this training and other trainings and other things about empathy, which are just fine. This is not putting those things down, but that this is experiential. This is an experience of empathy. And so I think that we are kind of conditioned to be very, very defensive and to keep things out. And I think that this is my own experience, but after experiencing the empathy circle, I realized that I have much more in common with my fellow human beings than I have to fear for them. And I'm very grateful for that experience and that learning. So Edwin, you want to share the outline for the, and so we did the welcome. We've done the participant intros, by the way, for people who have come in who are not the facilitators. At the end of the training, when we come back from the breakout circles, you will have a chance to introduce yourself. We've talked a little bit about the training, and I'll pass it off to Kathy, who'll tell you about that and do some quick Q&A. Thank you.
Great. Okay, let me share my screen here. Okay, Edwin, do I have permission to share?
Your co-host, you should, yeah.
It says only host.
Oh, only how you should.
Huh.
Stop, make.
Oh, allowed me, yeah. I
What
see her.
happens when you hit the?
If somebody wants to share, I can go through it.
Okay, let me do a
Okay.
screen share of that then. Okay.
Okay, so this is the Empathy Circle Facilitation Training website, and you can bookmark it and explore it on your own. Along the left side are drop-down menus. And I'll scroll through and describe all the sections to you. So the facilitation training goes for 5 weeks. It's 2.5 hours each week. And it prepares you to facilitate an empathy circle, which the people just introduce themselves, or we're the facilitators for the circles today. And as you can see, it doesn't take long. Linda and I have been here a couple of months. We started together and we're facilitating. And a cohort is typically 20 to 25 participants. And of course, it's hands-on. Our vision is a global culture of empathy that is based on the foundational values of mutual empathy, openness, and care. We believe a global culture based on empathy would contribute to the well-being of our mission. Our goal and mission is to raise the level of empathy on the planet by training all 7+ billion people to be able to take part in and facilitate empathy circles. And so we're an open source training. That means anybody can spread this widely. It's free to use. And you can also help develop the curriculum. There's a group that does that. And let's see. All of the trainers are volunteering their time to build a more empathic culture and spread this practice. And if you had to pay for this training, it would be well over $300. And we don't charge, but you can feel free to donate. And every week or so, we hold these introductory cafes. You can come as often as you want, and you can follow the links to the upcoming dates and times. And you can always, the link you use today is always the link you'll use to get in. Okay, so the 2 Empathy Circle prerequisites. Before you take a training, we do request that you do at least 2 empathy circles so that you can get a really good feel for what it is and what you'll be doing. And again, the time commitment, it's 5 weeks, 2.5 hours. Also have empathy between weeks that you'll meet with, and for at least 30 minutes to practice empathy. Let's see. So you can become a trainer if you first take the training as a trainee, then you can become a trainer by taking that training. And let's see what else. Building a supportive community. So we work to build an empathic community, a facilitator community of mutual support. And as mentioned, you have an empathy buddy between sessions to connect with fellow training participants. So not only are you learning empathy, but you're meeting people from around the globe. And you're matched with a trainer and a trainee. We have a Facebook and an email support group. And every second Friday, there's a support call for facilitators. Is that correct,
Yep,
Edwin?
correct.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So sign up by clicking on the preferred cohort date and time. This will take you to the sign up page. The cohort 12 series meets on Saturdays, which the next training on Saturday will be in November. And the cohort 13 series meets on Mondays, which they're in the middle of a training right now. And the times are always 10 a.m. Pacific. And you follow the steps and fill out the application to take part. You do need to sign up. All right. And so you can see an outline of the training session so you know what to expect. So it's listed there. There's lots of links to all kinds of references to learn as much as you want to about what we're doing. And yeah, see lots of wonderful information. There's also a lot of videos that show Edwin interviewing experts on empathy. And those are really informational and educational. And is there anything on here that I didn't talk about that you want me to talk about, Edwin?
I think that covers it. I just say that
Okay.
if you go, you click on the side and you can see the various cohorts that we've had, you would click through to the next one is the Saturdays ones. You can see past cohorts. The 12 series is always on Saturdays, and then we just name each cohort a different letter. So we're on to cohort D. If you want to sign up, you just click there and you would sign up to the cohort. Yeah. So that's it.
Okay, it's my turn now. And if you would, I'm going to ask, we're going to show you the facilitators and
Oh,
training.
I forgot. I got to show the video. That's my, the how-to video. Let me just share that, but I always forget
I'm
that.
sorry.
No, I didn't jump in. So this is the how-to. It's a 6-minute video on how to take part in an empathy circle, and then Linda will be demonstrating one after that. So this is up. This is the basics. I got to share with the audio. I always forget to turn that off. Share with sound, optimize for video. And these are the instructions of how to take part in an empathy circle. Director of the Center for Building a Culture of Empathy. I'd like to welcome you to this short presentation on how to take part in a basic empathy circle. So next, let's look at the step-by-step how to take part. An empathy circle starts with 2 to 7 participants. Here on the screen, we have 4 participants, which I find is an ideal number. There are
Excuse me,
4
Edwin.
basic roles, and
Your
the
whole
roles rotate
screen
among
is showing.
participants as the empathy circle.
Okay,
sorry. Okay. So,
I'm sorry about that, but I know that's not what you wanted.
Thanks for telling me. I forgot to. See, we have a little audio in the background. If everyone could mute. Okay. Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. Okay, here we go. Saying and what is important to them, you are giving them your full attention as a supportive companion on their inner journey and exploration. When the speaker pauses, you recap your understanding of what they said and how they feel by reflecting the essence of that in your own words. You can summarize, paraphrase, or even say the speaker's words back to them. Even though you may have a strong impulse to respond with your own ideas, judgments, analysis, advice, and sympathy, or even questions, resist the impulse to do so because these common responses block the speaker from moving along their internal journey. You will be able to say whatever you want when it is your turn to be the speaker. If you don't reflect the understanding to the speaker's satisfaction, they can always say it again. Then as speaker, you check, do you feel understood to your satisfaction? If you do not feel understood, you can say it again, perhaps in different words. If you do feel understood, continue sharing. Again, after speaking a bit, pause to give your active listener a chance to recap their understanding of what you said. As the active listener, you again share your understanding of what the speaker said and meant. The cycle of speaking and reflecting continues until you, as the speaker, do not have anything else you'd like to say, or until you get a signal from the timekeeper. If you get a signal from the timekeeper, then finish up what you're saying in a sentence or two. After you get a final reflection, you can end your turn by saying something like, I feel fully heard, or something like that to indicate you are done with your speaking turn. At that point, the roles then rotate. The active listener becomes the speaker. The person they select becomes the new active listener. For everyone having equal time, it is good to select someone that hasn't spoken lately, but it is your choice. The others in the circle become the silent listeners. This process of taking turns in speaking and active listening continues for whatever time is allotted for the empathy circle. And this was just a very short introduction. The best way to learn the practice is taking part and doing it. There is more in-depth material on taking part in an empathy circle and facilitating one at empathycircle.com. Thank you for listening. Okay, now Linda, yep. Oh, you're muted, Linda.
All right, so now that Edwin has shown you that everybody understands and knows how to do it, right? So we're going to, no. Okay, as facilitators, we're going to demonstrate, give you a live demonstration of how this works, how the circle works. So I'm going to ask, it starts off in the circle with the listener, and I'll be the listener here. And I will ask one of the facilitators if they want to be the speaker. Because I start off as the listener, I rephrase or repeat or summarize what the speaker is saying. When we finish, then I become the speaker and I select the listener. And that's how we move around the circle. Okay. So who wants to speak to me first?
And if you could raise your hands for the facilitators, just to so it brings everybody to the top. Yeah.
And we, in a circle, we usually allow a certain amount of time so you don't ramble on like I sometimes do. But here we're just going to do a demonstration. So.
And I'll put the question in is, why are you interested in the Empathy Circle and training? And I just put that into the chat. So.
That's the, yes, that's the topic. So Larry, do you want to be the speaker and I'll be the listener?
All right. Thank you, Linda. I was just thinking about this topic, what's interesting about empathy circles? And what came right to my mind was the time has come. The time has come for brothers and sisters to live in peace. And I'll stop there.
Okay. You've been thinking about this subject for quite a while, or for a little while, and your conclusion is it's time for everyone, brothers and sisters, to come together in peace.
Amen. And I'm amazed at the simplicity of the structure of empathy circles when it produces such a powerful result.
It's amazing. If I understand what you just said, it's amazing how such a simple process can result in such amazing happenings or circumstances.
Yes, a very powerful result for such a simple structure of a speaker, a listener, a reflection, feeling heard, and going around the circle.
A speaker, a listener, feeling heard, and we move around the circle.
Yes. Thank you, Linda. I feel fully heard. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Thank you, Larry. All right. I will pick Kathy. I will speak to you.
I'm listening.
All right. The reason I'm interested in the Empathy Circle and learning more about it is because I am a mediator and a arbitrator.
So you're a mediator and an arbitrator. That's what brings you here.
Yes, I want to continue to develop my skills in those areas. And in mediation, we are taught active listening skills, but to me, empathy circles and the process that goes on in the empathy circles really appeals to me.
So you've learned active listening as a mediator, and this brings more depth to being a listener.
Exactly. So I want to continue practicing because practice makes perfect. Practice makes perfect. And I know I'll never be perfect. There's no, perfect way, but I want to be better at it.
So you're striving for perfection, even though you know that's not possible. But if you shoot for the stars, you'll end up somewhere up there.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Kathy. I feel fully heard.
Right. Oh. So Bill, would you like to listen to me?
Sure, I'd be happy to.
All right. So, yeah, so I originally came here because somebody encouraged me to come because I was looking for something to bring to the Peace Alliance where I volunteer.
So you originally came here because someone, a friend of yours, encouraged you to come here because you're looking for some sort of technique or process to bring to the Peace Alliance that you're a member of.
Yeah. I just wanted something to give back to the network that would be something that appealed to the heart.
Yeah, so it was important for you to appeal to the people's hearts.
Yes. And that's what I've discovered here is that every time I come, my heart is opened in a different way. And I meet so many people from all over, and that fills my heart also.
So your experience coming here, and this is why you've continued to come here, is because it really opens up your heart and you meet new people, and that's very gratifying.
Yes. And I learn about myself in the process too. So I'm growing also.
And you also find that you learn about yourself as you kind of interact, and that's another benefit.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Bill. I feel fully heard.
Okay, well, pleasure,
Okay.
Kathy. Do we
We're
want to
gonna do
go
one
on?
more. One more.
One more. Okay. All right. So Celine, would you listen to me?
Yes.
So I certainly agree with everything that everyone said before. And in my job as a special education teacher, a lot of times I had to gain the trust of people who didn't have much trust. And I'll stop there.
So you agree with everything that's been said before, and also you're referring to your job as a special education teacher, where you had to gain the trust of people who didn't have very much trust for others.
Yes, and the students that I dealt with, not all of them, of course, but many of them, it was very extreme, like an intense program, and so many of them were violent. And one of my major epiphanies in teaching was that a child might just all of a sudden, out of nowhere, haul off and hit someone. And I'll stop there.
So the students that you had were kind of extreme in their behaviors. They were in the special ed classes, and they were violent. And one of your big ahas as you were doing your work was about why a child would act in this violent way.
Right. And so what would happen when a child did act out like that from seemingly nowhere is that we would group up and we would ask ourselves, what's the communicative intent of this action? And what I was amazed at is that everything we do is a communicative intent, even if we know it or not. And when we could discover what the intent was, what the issue was, they didn't get fed, they saw someone get beaten or something like that, and can address that, the violence went down. When people are heard, the violence goes down. I'll stop there.
So what you and your team of teachers and people caring for these students did was to look at these somebody being violent, acting in strange ways, and think, what is this person trying to communicate? And you found that there's always something that people are trying to communicate in everything they do, and that was your job, to find out, what is this person trying to tell us about their distress?
And what I really like about the empathy circle is that puts that listening first. So, and that short circuits a lot of the difficulties. And I'd love to see this in schools. That's what I'm trying to do. Thanks, and I'm complete.
So what you have learned is that listening to somebody will reduce the agitation, and that we all want to be heard, and everybody benefits from being listened to in schools. And you're still working on how to bring this to schools and everywhere.
Thanks, Lena. I feel fully heard.
Thank you, Bill.
All right, thank you, trainers, for participating, and facilitators for participating in that demonstration. I'll turn it over to Edwin now.
Okay, so we wanted to give everyone a chance to take part. That was just a little fishbowl to demonstrate how it works. We're going to go into breakout rooms now. And we'll be going for about 70 minutes in the breakout rooms, and then we'll come back and and get a bit of a debrief about the experience. So, and I'll send a 15-minute heads up before we come back. And if you see all the facilitators, they'll be the ones in your breakout room who will facilitate. So here we go. Let me just click breakout rooms. Allow. Okay. So see you in the rooms. Oh, and our topic, just putting that topic in, yeah, is the.
Why are you interested in the circle?
Yeah. So I'm here with you, Linda,
Okay.
and we're with Dwayne, Sergio, and the two Lindas. I'll have to have Linda, which Linda we're
Okay.
calling on.
I need to
And-
run, and I'm sorry, I need to go grab my charger for my computer. I'll be right back. I'm sorry for the interruption.
Okay. And Diana?
I think Diana's in another room, but yeah.
Okay. And Sergio, you've been through this before? You're muted. You can unmute, Sergio. You can unmute.
Yes, Linda. I was
Okay.
in host number 9 or 8 a few months ago. I've been kind of busy, but I've been keeping an eye on what Edwin does.
Well, I'm glad you're back. And Dwayne, this is not new to you, but it's new to Linda. So Linda, the question or the topic will be, why are you interested in the Empathy Circle or whatever is live to you? Each speaker will have 3 minutes.
4 minutes.
4 minutes.
For.
Okay, 4 minutes to speak. And I'll start off as, like I did before, as being the listener. When your 4 minutes is up, I will hold up my my phone. Well, rather than, because I know tell them what's on that. I'll just hold up this clock to let you know. Now, if you're in the middle of a sentence, the speaker, if you're in the middle of a sentence or thought, finish your thought, because we're still gonna give the listener an opportunity to reflect what you've said. I don't want to cut anybody off. So just, that's your time is up, but finish your thought on both sides. So I will start off by being the listener. And Linda, I will ask you to see, I didn't even ask who wanted to speak first. So I just, if you don't mind, would you be the speaker and I'll be the listener? And the question is, why are you interested in the Empathy Circle or whatever is alive for you today? Okay.
Okay. Thank you for inviting me to share. So I'm Linda from the Bay Area, and I'm interested in the Empathy Circle because my work is I'm a co-director of a nonprofit. And so I do outreach organizing work, and I first met Edwin at an event that our organization was hosting at a church in Berkeley, and we invited him to share a snapshot of his work and try it out. And this was a few years ago.
Okay. So you are a co-director of a nonprofit. You're interested in this Empathy Circle. One, you were invited as a result of inviting Edwin to your church for a presentation on how it works. But as a co-director, you're interested in the Empathy Circle and the benefits it can bring.
Perfect. And just, I guess on a personal level, as a child, in my family, I didn't feel that I was heard or there was space for myself or my siblings to be heard. And that greatly impacted me and my self-esteem. And it's taken me many years to, find a way to make peace with myself that I'm a valued person.
Okay, as a child, you didn't feel like you were heard, and you think if your siblings would, there was no space for you or your siblings to be heard, and that affected your self-esteem, and you realize that's what was affecting your self-esteem, and it's taken you a few years to get past that and get to where you are today.
Yes, great. And I think from that experience of, I've done a lot of work, both with personal counseling, but I've done a lot of work. I meditate. I'm part of a meditation group, and I'm a sensitive person. And I feel like a lot of the problems that we're facing with each other are stem from this lack of empathy. And that if we could just bring this, like Edwin is speaking, feeling heard just feels wonderful. And I think that's what most people crave, is just feeling recognized and feeling heard, and that helps heal.
Yeah, you've used therapy and meditation to help you personally in your growth and your development, and you feel like the world would be a better place if we would just take time to listen to everyone. So learning more about the Empathy Circle and learning how to truly listen to people, it's a personal thing for you.
That's very good. Just one more point, and that is, and the final point is that now the next step is to bring this into an event that our city is doing with other people in the community from other organizations.
Oh, wow. Well, you have professional interest in this, personal interest in it, and civic, because what you like to do is to bring this circle, if you will, to the community to deal with some issues that's out there. That's, yeah.
Thank you. I feel heard.
Okay. All right. Okay, Sergio, I'm going to speak and ask if you would be the listener, okay? You're muted. Can't hear you.
Yeah, if you
Okay.
speak a bit slower, will facilitate me a lot.
Yes. And if I don't, please remind me, because I do look.
Thank
All
you,
right.
Linda.
I mentioned earlier that I'm a mediator and a arbitrator. And the practice that I'm able to do, the empathy listening practice, is helping me on a professional and personal level.
Okay. You find that this going to the empathy circles helps you a lot in two things that you do that are important: facilitating and mediating, and that's important for you.
Yes. I'm finding that this empathic listening is beneficial to me with my circle of friends.
Mhm. It helps you too with your friends. You find it very facilitating.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm learning to not, I'm learning to shut up and listen.
Mhm. That's an important thing that you will learn, that you value in your social setting.
Yes, because I tend to talk a lot and jump into the conversation and talk over people. That's what we do, especially women when we get together. And I'm learning that I don't have to speak just because I'm learning that just because I think it, I don't have to say it.
Mhm. I hear you that one of the challenges that you have is to listen more than you speak, because you have the habit of speaking more than listening, and that's an improvement that you value and you acknowledge.
Yes, and I feel fully heard. Thank you, Sergio.
Thank you.
So,
Well, I pick up Dwayne. Can you?
Yes.
Okay. I have a life and experience from past days. I have a grandchild living in Ottawa, Canada. He's 12 months old. He's very small, and he goes to a daycare center. And I saw a picture of him, which impressed me very much.
You've had a recent experience where you had an extended member of your family who lives in Canada, and you saw the picture and it
Okay.
impressed you very much.
Yeah. That extended member is my child, my grandchild, and is my first one. And the movie is really not a picture. It's a movie sent by phone. He's in a daycare center, and there is a little girl that is coming by the first time, and he approaches her and gives her some toys and take her to play with the others. And I felt like crying, like saying this gesture of inclusion means a lot to me, and I think that's the reason I'm here. I was kind of uneasy about doing this because being on empathy circles in English takes me more energy and more attention. And if I distract a little bit, I lose track of what I think is important to follow from the other person.
You recently had this, powerful experience that touched you, where you witnessed your first grandchild, your grandson, and he was at a daycare, and as a gesture of kindness and inclusion, he shared his toy with another little girl. And this experience is part of the reason why you're here today. It's sometimes challenging for you when you participate because you're not sure that you completely understand what the other person's saying, but you still really wanted to be here to be a part of this experience.
I feel fully understood. Thank you, Dwayne.
You're welcome. Excuse me, Edwin, would you like to be my listener?
Listening.
Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are. I have a variety of different reasons why I enjoy participating in the empathy cafes and eventually the facilitation training.
So there's a variety of reasons that you're interested or enjoy taking part in the empathy circle and want to take the training.
For the most part, as I've mentioned before, anything that I do is part of my personal growth and development. My goal is to, be a lifelong learner and to continue to learn and grow for the rest of my life.
Yeah, you've mentioned it before that you want to be you're a lifelong learner and you just want to keep growing and learning for the rest of your life.
Everything that I do, it's important that it aligns with my overall personal mission for my life. Whether it's my interactions with family members, friends, the volunteer work that I do, I want everything to align.
So you really want everything to align with your sort of mission in life of learning and growing, relations with families and the work that you do. So everything to align with that.
part of my overall goal in life is, my hope is that my collective work leads to my overall goal of making a positive contribution to the world that I'm living in.
Yeah, and your overall goal is to make a positive contribution to the world.
For example, I make it a point to, well, and now I don't even really think about it, but I do something for someone else every day of my life. And I, focus on doing one thing, but my hope is to do more. But I'm going to do one thing for someone every day other than myself.
Yeah, so every day you try to contribute to someone else, and maybe even more than once a day, but that's like a goal of yours to do that at least once a day for the rest of your life, is to contribute to others or someone else.
Part of the reason why I'm interested in empathy circles is I am an advisor to a volunteer organization, college-based community service fraternity. And I would like to see this training become a part of what we do in our organization.
And you're part of a fraternity, and you like to have the empathy circles to be part of that organization. So bring
Thank
it
you.
into that organization.
Thank you. I feel fully heard.
Great, then I'll speak to Linda Curry. Okay, you're muted, just so give you a heads up.
Linda, you're muted.
There you go.
Well,
Okay.
I'm listening.
Okay, yeah, you're listening. That's why you're muted. Okay.
That's why I'm muted.
Okay.
Okay, I get it. Yeah, I really appreciated what was said about, family not feeling heard. I had a loving family, but I didn't feel like heard in the family either. Like I couldn't just share everything that was on my mind. And, both my parents, they weren't that good of listeners, and to me as a kid, still some challenges.
So Edwin shared an experience related to my experience of not feeling heard as a child, and his parents were likely not good listeners either.
And we have done family empathy circles, with my parents and, extended family. And I know my mother, in one of the circles, she said, I like it when we talk so peacefully instead of, all the fighting that sometimes happens. It's like she's not the best listener. It's like but she just appreciated that, the lack of fighting, like, everybody's feeling heard, and it creates a more peaceful environment, and she appreciated that.
So Edwin has done the empathy circles with his family and his extended family. And his mother expressed that she liked the experience of being more peaceful in this style of communicating with each other.
So I think spreading this empathy circle practice into families, where families would have, regular family empathy circles, I think it would be revolutionary, kind of in the world, if all the families were doing this, because everyone would feel heard. I mean, if you think of all of the experience you had of not feeling heard, and all the pain that it caused, and all the therapy you got to go through, right, to kind of heal all that. If we would have just had the regular weekly empathy circles with our families, just would have just created so much more solid foundation, I think, for me, and I can imagine for everybody else too.
So Edwin is thinking that if all families could do this empathy circle practice, then there wouldn't be the experience that he had with having, and others of having trauma or not feeling heard or having to go through counseling. It would just it would just be better for everyone in the family,
Yeah.
everyone in the world.
Yeah, and I have understanding for the parents too, because they didn't get it either, right? So it's like I'm not blaming anyone because it's just generations, it's a whole cultural thing. So, you know, it's we got to start somewhere, and this is what we're doing. We're just teaching. If we can just teach everyone this simple practice, bring it into families, I think it would just have a big effect for the general well-being.
So Edwin's not blaming the parents because they didn't have the opportunity of having this experience either. And that that we're starting with this now and bringing this practice from this point on to share with other people for their benefit of everyone.
Yeah, and I'm excited. Thanks for having invited me to work with the Mobilize Berkeley. You know, because I'm excited that, you know, somebody reaches out and says, yeah, let's bring this into the community. You know, it's great. Well, I don't have to be pushing all the time, but somebody has an invitation. So I'm really grateful for your invitation to join the Mobilize Berkeley and bring the empathy circles into that event.
So Edwin is appreciative of being invited to be part of this community event that Mobilize Berkeley, which is a coalition of people, and being invited to bring this into this event and the community at large.
Yep, thank you. I feel fully heard.
I have a quick question though that just came up for me. I'm assuming that
You're on mute, Linda.
Can you hear me, y'all?
Oh, that's right. Okay, you didn't hear me. Okay, I'm sorry.
You were both speaking at the same time.
Yeah, and I didn't have my mic on. I was saying that if there are no objections, we can go around again and we can speak on whatever is alive for us. And Linda, your question.
Oh, my question. So it may have been covered, but maybe I missed it. Just about, I know this is recorded, but just about like confidentiality and the things being shared within the group. Is that expected to be kept? Like I intend to keep this within the group, not sharing names, or maybe just the feeling of the group, but not sharing names or actual experiences.
I would say yes. And you know what? You can be the speaker and you can speak on that. And you can pick whoever you want to be the listener.
Oh. Oh, right. Oh, we're going around again.
Yes, we're going around again, but we're
see.
not talking about why so we're going to do it again.
Oh, okay, we're doing it again.
I have
And
about
so
40 more minutes, 40 more
Okay.
minutes. We'll just
Yeah.
keep
Okay.
going.
And so everybody can speak on whatever is alive for them. And since you brought that question up, I'm just saying you can talk it out.
Okay, I can talk about that now. Okay.
Mhm.
I will pick Dwayne. So I guess what's arising for me right now is aspects of confidentiality. I feel that this group I feel trust in this group already in this short time. And I wonder if there's a policy or if there's anything in the mission or goals around confidentiality.
Currently, Linda, you feel comfortable, you feel a sense of trust within the group. And one of the things that's come up with you is the idea of confidentiality. And if there's a policy that exists as it relates to confidentiality for what's shared within these empathy circles.
And if there isn't a policy, I've been in many other types of groups. I would recommend that be something that might be created. It could help I'm a trusting person, but it might help with people who have trust issues.
You've been a part of other organizations where there was a policy that related to confidentiality and what's shared within a group, it's not an issue for you, but there may be other people who are participating who have issues with trust and confidentiality, and you have an example of what that policy looks like.
Otherwise, I'm feeling very comfortable being in this group, and I'm really enjoying this experience a lot. And already I see how useful it could be in other areas of my life.
You're feeling comfortable with what's your experience in this group so far, and you can see how what you're experiencing or learning here would apply to other aspects of your life.
Thank you so much. I feel fully heard.
Thank you. I will pick Sergio to be my listener.
Okay. I do.
Thank you. For me, what's on my mind right now is I always like to contribute something to whatever conversation that I'm a part of.
That's important for you to contribute to any conversation that you are in. That's like a standing that you take, contributing.
One of the things one of the ideas or that's always on my mind is language and how I use language, and to make sure that I'm using language in a healthy way.
Yeah. You seem very aware of how you use language, how you convey messages, and you are paying attention to that. That's important.
I always like to bring this idea up because it's my hope that I will, by introducing this topic to a conversation, that I can continue to learn how to improve the way I communicate.
Okay. This is a topic that deeply interests you, and you want to share it in this group and keep on exploring it. Did I understand?
Yes. For example, one of the words that I've removed from my vocabulary is the word sorry. I didn't find any useful purpose for the word sorry, so I've stopped using that when I'm communicating with other people.
Okay. You've been realizing that the word sorry has not use, and you are just paying attention to your own language, not to use it because it's not useful.
I found that in the past, when I used the word sorry, I didn't feel good using it, and the person I said the word to also didn't appear to not feel good hearing it.
It was not good in the relationship. You didn't stay in a position that you felt comfortable with. Neither
Yes.
you nor the other person. Yeah.
Yes. And so I'm always looking to exchange words or find words that that I feel good about using, and the person receiving the word also has a good feeling or is not impacted in an unhealthy way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're speaking about how important it is to be careful with the words, and this is an issue on your growing right now, that being aware about the use of words, of language, which is useful or facilitating.
Yes. I think the awareness is really important. And thank you. I feel fully heard.
Thank you, Wayne. Okay. I pick up Linda.
Me, Linda, or the other Linda?
You, Linda Bass.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, yes. Go right ahead.
Mhm. When I'm doing this practice, I realize that when I'm listening to somebody like I did to Dwayne, one part of me is trying to find my story or my topic, so I get kind of divided, and I don't know which one I pick up. Suddenly I have the microphone, and I don't have yet decided what to speak about.
Okay. When you're, Sergio, you said when you're the listener, you're also knowing that the next round you're going to be the speaker, and you're trying to listen and also think about what your subject will be. It gives a little.
Yeah, and I realize that it comes a memory to me. When I was like a kid, 9 or 10 years old, I was very silent. I never saw violence in my house. My parents were kind. They were not good listeners, but sometimes I would not speak, and I was wishing somebody asked me a question and I can tell them that I'm in love with this girl, or that I had a problem with this teacher. But I had to see the question to be sure that there was interest, genuine interest from the other side.
Yeah, when you were 9 or 10 years old, you're remembering that there was no violence in the house. Your parents were kind to each other in front of the children, but you wish they would ask you questions which would tell you that they were interested and ready to hear what you had to say, and you wanted to talk about your friends and girls you were interested in, things like that.
Yeah. So my issue is about doing questions. In one way, in some ways, questioning is a way of intruding into the other person, like being too intrusive, maybe. But on the other side, a question is a message of you matter to me, and I realize that to me it's very important. There is one single question that I give myself permission to ask when I'm in a circle like this is, can you give me an example? Can you give me a picture? That helps me a lot. And that's also the reason I tend to give pictures more than sharing what I think is an experience, which is more easily imaginable. That's it.
Okay, the asking questions it's twofold for you. Sometimes people may think that it's too intrusive, the question that you ask, but at the same time, asking a question implies that you're interested in that person and what they have to say. For you, giving a description or a picture of what the person is talking about helps you more than just the words. You want to formulate a picture in your head of whatever they're trying to tell you.
Yeah. And I got the experience of feeling very close when I can get the picture of the other person or the other person get my picture.
Okay, you feel close, you feel connected when the other person gets your picture and when you get theirs, you feel like you've connected.
Fully understood. Thank you.
Thank you. It's good. All right. Okay. I want to talk to Edwin.
Listening.
And I want to piggyback on what Linda, the other Linda, was saying about confidentiality. And I noticed that it came to my attention when she mentioned it, that we haven't talked about that in the circle.
So you want to just talk about the confidentiality, which Linda had brought up, and we haven't talked about that in the circle.
No. Even though we haven't talked about it, I think it was just, I believe it was just understood in the group that whatever happened in the circle was said in the circle, stayed in the circle.
Yeah, so you understood it that just kind of was unsaid, that whatever was said in the circle stayed in the circle. That was your sort of unwritten understanding.
But I do see the importance of actually stating that and putting that as a one of the conditions or the agreement of when you participate in a circle. We do that. That's one of the things that we emphasize in mediation, is that whatever is said in there, or when we separate them in any room, it stays in that room unless they give you permission to share with the other side.
And in mediation, you have a clear policy that whatever's said in the room stays in the room unless you're getting people's permission to talk about it.
Correct. And in these groups that I've participated in so far, there is a level of trust and comfort because some people have shared personal or information, not just surface, but personal information. And to this date, since I've been here, I have not heard anybody disclose it in the, in the big group.
So there's been personal things that have been shared and you haven't heard anyone disclose it in the full group.
Yeah. So, being able to speak without judgment and without, soliciting opinions, it does provide a level of trust and comfort, which is what these circles, that's another benefit to these circles. And I believe that, well, I know when I do my own circles, I'm going to make a point of emphasizing that and don't just assume that people know.
So when you facilitate empathy circles, you're going to have sort of a clear confidentiality sort of policy, just to be clear.
Yeah. Yeah, because people assume, and then, I can assume that you will not share what you heard in the circle. And then other people will assume, well, you said it in public, so it must not be a secret. And, that's just not the way. I don't think that's I don't think that demonstrates trust.
So not sharing publicly what's been said in the circle kind of demonstrates quality of trust.
Correct. And thank you. I feel fully heard.
Okay. I'll speak back to Linda Curry again. Spoke last time, but continue. So I wanted to pick up on the confidentiality topic, that we're the training in these intro cafes are fairly open, like this is being recorded, so it's done for educational purposes. So the idea is to, model how it works and that people can see how it works. And so it has that educational, purpose quality.
So this training is open and it's kind of set up to be educational. And so it has this type of open educational feeling.
Yeah, and for recording and being,
and for-
publicly available, that it's not like, hey, there's confidentiality. It's like, hey, we're out here to the world. So we're kind of sharing everything to the world to model the practice. So just say for what we've been doing. Yeah.
So we're recording, and we're not making that secret. We're using this so that we can share this to the world.
Yeah, and if someone wants to hold an empathy circle and have a confidentiality, that's fine, because some people need that sense of confidentiality, maybe to feel safe.
So if some people choose to include confidentiality in their circle, that's fine, and especially if that helps them feel safe.
This is not therapy, so it's not within the therapeutic world. You've got all kinds of confidentiality. So this is just people talking. So it's a bit like people getting together who are friends or whatever. That it doesn't go to the level of a therapy group is what we're doing here. So therapy is a bit different, maybe mediation, which is, conflict mediation so there's kind of like levels of confidentiality. And so it's a big topic. Yeah.
So, so this practice is not therapy. It's more like friends getting together, talking and sharing. And there's different levels of processes. Therapy is one. And
yeah, people coming from the therapeutic world, it's like confidentiality is like premier. In the healthcare, it's like HIPAA rules and all that kind of stuff, right? So there's that confidentiality, but what we're doing is just we're not coming from the healthcare sort of that world. It's therapeutic. It's like, hey, it's just people talking, and then you can sort of choose your level of confidentiality.
Okay, so this is not coming from the healthcare world and the HIPAA and all those types of rules and formalities. This is I'm getting a little stuck here. Yeah,
that's close enough. Yeah. So
okay.
the other part is in terms of one of the goals is a culture of empathy, and a culture of empathy sort of thrives on openness and transparency. So the more open and transparent we can be to the world, I think that's going to affect the the culture. And authoritarian cultures, I mean, people are based on fear. It's like people afraid to share who they are because of the punishment and what you'll get out of the danger. So I can understand there's a lot of authoritarian governments in the world, and there's a lot of fear about sharing who you are. And it looks like my time's up.
So so you went a lot of places there, starting with empathy is building trust, and there's a lot of authoritarian styles that are based on fear, and this is to break through the authoritarian style. It's not really like that.
Yeah, feel fully heard. No, I feel heard enough. A lot more to say.
We'll come back around to you. Okay, the listener picks becomes the speaker, and you pick someone to listen. So you were the listener, Linda.
Okay, so then I will pick Sergio. Hola. Where do I want to go? I feel heard already.
You're having a hard time picking up our topic because you feel kind of complete with what you already said. What else?
I do. I understand what Edwin was talking about concerning confidentiality, but I still feel like there should be more transparency from the beginning.
Mhm. For you, this dimension of confidentiality is very, very important, and you think we should, or you should put it up front from the very beginning. It's an sensitive issue.
Yes, I just think that it should be clear. For example, the recordings that are happening, how will those be used? Will they be only for Edwin to listen to, or is he sharing them on the internet?
Okay, you are concerned about the use of recorded material, and you wonder how it's being used or could be misused, and you worry about a bit, kind of.
Yes, I trust Edwin. I've known Edwin. I trust Edwin, but I think it should, I feel that for the benefit of all, there should be more description on the use of
Okay,
the materials.
it's like being more explicit about the importance of confidentiality. It should be stressed in the beginning of a group.
Just to be more clear,
More
about the recordings and the sharing that happens in the group.
Mhm. Yeah, that's important to you that people have that very clear, that there is going to be recorded, and the use that is going to have that recording.
Yes,
That they know.
thank you. I feel
Okay.
that. Thank you.
Well, I pick up Edwin, and I'm a take the same trend. I've been picking in some of the recording sessions by myself, and I deeply, deeply learn. It's like something alive. I don't see any other place where there is so much aliveness. It's an human interaction. On the other hand, I remember having seen some of the facilitating that Edwin's did, and some of the group members decided not to be recorded or wanted not to be public, and they didn't. So when I am in a empathy circle, I hear very clearly the information about this is gonna be recorded. So I got that message. For me, at least, is enough. That's my experience.
Mhm. So you've been watching a lot of the recordings and you just find there's a lot of humanity which you don't see in other places sort of demonstrated, and that you've seen empathy circles where people have asked not to have recordings, and then also there has been notices about this as being recorded, and that's been sort of enough for you to
Yeah,
address concerns that you
yeah.
have.
And I link this attempt to record with the goal that I read from you, Edwin, about the spreading out that being education is not just the experience of 5 or 6 people, is how people who wants to learn without having to go to university, or people from far away, can get really a grip of the what empathy is about, because there is a lot of material around written, but this is so real that I find it very rich, enriching, and helpful.
So you see there's a lot of material written material about empathy, but this is very rich and helpful because it's kind of the experience of it, and you're seeing the experience of it, I think is what you're saying.
Yeah, I've been fully understood. Thank you, Edwin.
Okay, thanks. I'll speak to Dwayne then. Yeah, this topic of confidentiality comes up, periodically, and I've written up a bunch about it, because it's sort of a bigger topic, it's a big topic. What there's somebody in the wait room, got to tell him we're closed. Yep. Okay.
This topic of well, everyone's saying that this topic of confidentiality comes up periodically, and he's actually written quite a bit about it.
Yeah. Well, I've put together a bunch of notes, about it. So it's a complicated topic. So there's a lot of facets to it.
You've put together, you've taken a lot of notes and compiled these notes, and there's so many, it's a very complex and multi-dimensional topic.
Mm-hmm. I tend towards kind of like openness. It's like we have the core values of a culture of empathy is empathy, mutuality, openness, and care. And that the more open we can be, the more we can sort of share who we are, the more people can empathize with us. And if a culture becomes fearful, about being open, it kind of like blocks empathy. I think our culture is very fearful culture. And yeah, so the more open we can be to model empathy, I think the more we can transform the culture.
I think, in short, the purpose of empathy circles is to create this connections, and openness is really important part of that, creating those connections. And you would like to see that this environment stays open, that it doesn't become an environment where people are fearful or concerned about what they're saying in the process.
But that's for me. I understand if people like, hey, let's have a confidentiality agreement, because anybody can go start an empathy circle. And if they want to put a confidentiality agreement there at the beginning, that's absolutely, if it helps everyone, that's absolutely fine.
This is what works for you in the context of what you're doing with the empathy cafes and the empathy facilitation training. But for someone else who has that the issue of confidentiality is important, they could create a confidentiality agreement and use that within their circles or the group that they put together.
Yeah. So I think, yeah, we do. There is a, recording. It does say when you join, Zoom says, hey, this is be recording, plus we make announcements and stuff like that. And in the descriptions of the event, it says this is going to be recorded for educational, promotional purposes. And I take the point of Linda saying, wow, maybe it's good to even say a little bit more about that. So I guess we can always add more, like this will be posted to YouTube and the whole world will see it and you'll be totally exposed. Yeah, so only say what you feel comfortable in saying to the world.
Well, first and foremost, only say what you feel comfortable saying to the world. But at the same time, Edwin appreciates what Linda is saying, and that, perhaps there's other opportunities to let people know that this event is being recorded, even though it's stated in the description of this activity. And also once prior to beginning the recording, Edwin usually says this event's going to be recorded, and then the Zoom platform actually has a box that appears that says this event is being recorded, and you have the option of opting out of the recording at that moment. So
Yeah, I feel fully heard. Thank you.
thank you. Now that I'm the speaker again, I'm going to check in with Linda, and she knew this was coming, that I would like for her to be my listener. Linda Bass.
Oh, okay. Uh, all right, I'll listen.
It's interesting because I was thinking, like Sergio mentioned earlier, I was listening to the conversation, but also thinking, what am I going to speak about next? And it's interesting for me. One of the things that I think is really important for me that I focus on as a regular practice is how I show up to things.
Okay. You can identify with Sergio. While you're listening, you're thinking, because you know your turn is coming, what am I going to talk about? And it's important for you in terms of how you show up for people.
Yes, how I show up to something. For example, recently I went through physical therapy. I was rehabilitating from knee replacement surgery on both legs.
Okay, so recently you went through, as a result of having knee replacement in both legs, you've been involved in therapy.
And even though there's a lot of different things that are going on in my life, and as it relates to not only knee replacement surgery, but also the process of aging, I have a heart condition. And so there's a variety of challenges in my life outside of that.
Yeah, other considerations that's going on, or other things going on in your life involved is besides the knee surgery and the therapy, because it's the process of aging. And you have a heart condition, so you're having to be conscious of that at all times.
And yet, when I arrive at physical therapy, my responsibility is to be the best. For me, I want to be the best patient possible. So before I enter the doorway to begin physical therapy, I make sure that I leave the other challenges in my life that I'm working through, either if I leave them in the car or the walk over in the parking lot or just outside the door. And now my focus is to be the best patient that I could be, to listen, to do everything that's asked of me while I'm in that space.
So when you go to therapy, you really want to be mindful. You want to leave everything else behind and focus on what you're about to engage in, so you can put the best effort that you have forward as a patient, which help, excuse me, which is helpful in the process, in the therapy process.
Yes.
You want to be mindful.
Yes, exactly. And so it's interesting because this morning I'm having a challenging time staying focused and awake. I always take my medication about 5:30, 6:30 in the morning. It causes drowsiness. Usually I'm almost past that stage by the time I began an Empathy Cafe.
Okay. So the medication that you have to take every day makes you drowsy, and you take it early in the morning. So about time midday, about just about the time the cafe starts, it's past, that drowsiness is past, and you can be fully awake.
So this morning, for some reason, it the drowsiness hit me right at the beginning of cafe. So it's been challenging, but it's also been really, it's interesting because it's also challenged me to listen even more carefully, to be more actively involved as I manage the effects of the medication. So it's
Okay.
been an interesting experience.
So you're having an interesting experience this morning, getting past the drowsiness that you know is a result of the medication and being fully present in this circle. So the listening part has been a real challenge for you this morning.
The only thing I would change is it's actually, because of the challenge, I'm actually listening even more carefully than I might if I were wide awake.
Yeah. So your listening is more intentional and more intense as a result.
Thank you. I feel fully heard.
Okay. And thank you for being here. Okay. We're about at the hour mark. Do we want to keep going around, or do we, it wouldn't even know
You
you're
could
in
do,
here?
maybe do one more to go
Okay.
again, and then we still have 12 minutes before we.
Okay.
Have a
Yes.
quick question. Will we have time for a little debrief within this group?
Yeah, we could. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Linda.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, when he does the 15-minute mark, that's when I like to stop and give people an opportunity to debrief in this group, even though you'll debrief in the big group too. So yes.
Just a heads up, it's going to be a 10-minute. In 2 minutes, I was going to give a 10-minute. I kind of let the time go by.
So Edwin is now going to cheat us out of 5 minutes.
That's it. Okay.
All right. Let me see. So I was the listener, right? Let me speak on Linda on facilitating. I like facilitating these groups. It is becoming easier for me, less challenging for me.
So Linda likes facilitating these groups, and it's becoming easier for her and less challenging.
Yes, because when I first started, it was all about keeping the time and also listening, even if I was not the active listener, and paying attention to the facial expressions of the group.
When she first started, it was all about keeping track of the time and listening to the active listener, even if she, I'm sorry, I'm a little lost.
Okay. I was, okay, and that's okay. One of the things I had to do was one of the things I wanted to do was to listen, even though I was not an active listener. I wanted to hear what people were saying.
Okay, one of the things you were trying to do was listen, even though you weren't the assigned or chosen listener, so that you understood what was being said.
Yes. There can be some interesting conversations in some of these rooms. Plus, it's a peek into the personality of the person that's speaking and listening.
So there can be some interesting conversations in the room, and it's a peek into the personality of the person that's speaking.
And listening.
And listening.
Yes. So I'm less nervous about making a mistake and more focused on the process. And I think that's what's the reason it seems to be easier for me.
So you're less focused on making a mistake and more on the process. And so it's feeling easier for you.
Yes, yes. And I think this process, practical application of the information is a great way to learn for me.
So the process of practical implementation of the information is working for you, is practical for you,
Yes,
works
yes.
for you.
Again, I go back to mediation. When I was involved in the mediation training in Texas, you have to have 40 hours of training to be considered for court-appointed mediations.
So she's going back to her mediation and her mediation training, which in Texas requires 40 hours
Mhm.
before you can be an official court-appointed mediator.
Correct. And about half of that training involves role playing. And I facilitate the role plays, or some of them.
So half of the training involves role plays, and you support the role plays for some of the
Yeah.
mediation
Yeah.
practice. Yes.
It's a different, even though it's facilitating, like I'm facilitating now, it's a different type. The focus is totally different.
So even though it's facilitating like she's doing now, it's a different type, and it's totally different.
Yes.
Totally different feeling.
Yes. Thank you. I feel fully heard.
Thank you.
So want to do the debrief now? Sort of, we have about 6 minutes.
Oh, I didn't see the time deal.
Oh,
Okay.
didn't it? I thought I sent it.
Maybe somebody, I didn't see it. That's what I was
Okay.
looking
Yeah,
for.
we got 6 minutes if you want to do
Okay.
that.
Okay. Does anybody have anything they want to say about this whole process that we've been through? Which questions, answers, what it meant to you, what it didn't mean to you, whether it met your expectations? Dwayne?
But for
Real
me,
short.
oh, excuse me. It was interesting when Linda introduced the idea of confidentiality. I really hadn't thought about that at all and I've been involved in several of these, participated in several cafes. So that was really surprising for me. And so, and I thought about it, and I'm still completely comfortable with the process, but it was interesting to have a different idea come in to what we were discussing. And I thought it was really good to have that conversation.
Good. Sergio, you want give us some feedback on your experience today in the circle?
Well, I felt gradually more at ease and understood, and I realized that when Wayne talked about a more vulnerable situation, I related and I felt identified with him, and I value that very much. It's like when you don't just talk about the nice things, it's also condition, like I'm drowsy and I'm not paying that much attention as I would like. Like I went to the bathroom because I need to go more often. So it's comfortable to show myself the way I deeply appreciate that, and I feel close to the four of you.
Very good. All right. Linda C. From Linda B.
Thank you. I really enjoyed being part of this group. I believe am I the only new person here today? I might be the only new person. And I feel fully heard. I felt a little bit nervous in not being able to reflect back. I have some judgment around, like maybe I didn't reflect back as well as I could have to Edwin. I do have some auditory things, like I'm a visual person, so I'm not great with remembering words. I'm more about a feeling. So I was feeling a little nervous that I wasn't doing a good job.
Well,
So
Yeah.
that was one thing, but overall, I mean, in such a short time, the feeling of bonding, I have a very strong sense of feeling of bonding and trust. And I really, some ideas that were emphasized that Dwayne brought up about, you know, his purpose. Like I think about that a lot, my purpose, and that sometimes I go in a negative direction when I'm speaking, and like you can have a positive or a negative impact on people, and right language is so important. It's like the beginning of nonviolence to me. So I just got so much from all of you, and thank you for allowing me to be here.
And you know, one good thing about this, Linda, because some people say it's a safe space, some people say it's a brave space, but it's okay to make mistakes. And that's part of the listening process, because sometimes it's the way people would talk about the use of words, say things or whatever. And some people, we've had a discussion about this, some people take notes. For me, it's better to just look at the person and listen, but some people take notes and certain words they hear, and that helps them in the rephrasing. So as you go through this, and I hope you do come back, you will learn what works for you. And you will learn that we all sometimes miss it and go, can you say that again? All right. Edwin, your experience today?
Yeah, I just enjoy the connection, you know, hearing everyone. It's typical, you know, when it's new, there's a bit of anxiety. I mean, that's just everybody seems to feel that. And that's why we like to go for at least 3 rounds. After you go 3 rounds of speaking and listening, then you kind of sink into it. So, you know, we're going to be doing that workshop, Linda. That's why I was really pushing for the 1 hour, was because you need that time. And I appreciated all the different things everyone brought up. And
All right.
I think some of you will sort of pop back in. I guess
Yes,
I got to
we've been
close the
beamed
room.
up or beamed down or beamed sideways, but we're all coming back together again.
They left the room early, so about a minute early.
I beamed down. What part of Mexico are you from, Sergio?
From Guanajuato. And you?
My mom's from Guanajuato, Jerecuaro, Guanajuato. That's awesome. Wow.
Okay, we have about 45 seconds. Everybody else will pop back in.
Celine, you know, Celine would probably benefit from speaking with Sergio regarding her project. When she needs Spanish people, speaking people.
Yeah, definitely.
Is she on yet? No.
She'll be back in a minute here.
Okay.
We have 20 seconds before everyone's back.
Oh, I gotta go get mine.
Yeah, we probably need a comfort break. I hate to call it.
If you need to go, just, you know, turn off your video. Feel free to take care of yourself. We just have 20 minutes left. So
okay.
We had a lot of people drop off.
Oh,
and try to come back in.
I really apologize for that. We had people drop, and then we closed the room, you know, when we go into the breakout rooms, and I didn't recognize the names. So I didn't let them in, or I dropped them. I would send them a message. So it was a little bit, I really apologize for that, because we need to work that out better, because some people, you know, for whatever, their connection drops, and then they come back, and we need a better process for that.
Right.
Because there was at least 2 people who messaged me, and then it was a bit of a mess. So sorry for that. So, so Larry, you're up for just a debrief.
Yes, so welcome back. And now we would like to take about 30 seconds to share any learnings or insights from the Empathy Circle. And I'll just go around the screen and call on each person one at a time to unmute and share for about 30 seconds what the experience was like for you. And I'm going to ask if the facilitators would raise their hands, the facilitators, the ECFs, if you would raise your hand, then that will help me to call on our participants. So Linda, would you unmute and share for about 30 seconds, please?
I assume you're meaning me. There's
Yes.
another Linda. Yes, I'm a non-facilitator. I'm new. I'm brand new today. I had a really wonderful experience, and I'm really excited because we're going to bring this Empathy Circle to an event coming up in about a month in my city with several different organizations involved. And it's sort of a dream that I've had, and I'm really excited to be like actually experience what it felt like, because I knew it was going to be really good. And so I probably will go on to do the training, facilitation training, and we're going to get a glimpse of it at the event. And so it will be exposed to a lot more people in our city, which is really exciting. So thank you all.
Thank you, Linda. And Sergio, would you unmute and share, please?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, I was telling my group that I had a very pleasant experience, and I appreciated some of the personal things that some of you share, and it helped me to relax with my English. I felt so fully understood that I felt like a native speaker. So thank you for your patience, and appreciate that.
Gracias, Sergio. And Dwayne, would you unmute and share, please?
Sure. I enjoyed the experience. I enjoyed the connection with the people within our group. One of the things that I like to posit this idea that because we're using the experiential learning process, the fact that we're all here to learn, I would like to challenge the idea that mistakes are made during this process. I personally don't believe that there are any mistakes being made. Simply, we're learning from the process. So I wanted to share that thought.
Thank you, Dwayne. And Mauricio, would you unmute and share, please?
Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here today. I am learning and growing, appreciating everything that I've learned and everybody's time that they've come here and tried to grow, enjoying the people. Thank you.
Thank you, Mauricio. And Carolyn, would you share? And then next will be Annie. Carolyn?
Okay, this was a great learning experience for me. I enjoyed it very much. I appreciate Dwayne's comment about there are no mistakes, because I am very tough on myself. So I'll keep growing, I promise.
Thank you, Carolyn. And Annie, would you unmute and share, please?
Yes. Yes, I am very happy to be here. I missed, I think, 3, 4 of the training session. And today I was just thought, oh, I'm doing nothing. I'm going to jump right on. So I did. And I'm really happy that I did. I got a lot of benefit from it. I really felt like that I were heard, since I'm pretty much of a listener all the time. So, I got to participate and not feel so shy. I felt like I were heard and a part of the group, and thank you. That's
Thank
great.
you, Annie. Thank you, Annie. And Erin, and then Kevin will be next.
Thank you so much. I loved it. I had a great time. I felt warm and fuzzy and good and heard, and I look forward to progressing. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Aaron and Kevin. And then Amini next.
I definitely appreciate the group that I was in, but I appreciate every group. I think the community that Edwin is growing is very powerful to allow for things to be unpacked and to hear it being unpacked and responded back to, which is just awesome in itself. So I thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Amani.
Yes, you got it right. It's Amani. Thank you. Yeah, I really appreciated this as someone who also is a listener and a helper. It was great to be listened to. Yeah, just a space where it's reciprocal, right? There's both listening and being heard happening at the same, that there's an opportunity for both was really powerful. I also think it was a good practice as someone who's a talker to kind of pause, to give the listener an opportunity to process what just was said and to hear back how they understood me, to know if I was heard or not. So yeah, just really grateful and enjoyed this experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Amani. And TJ, and then it will be Vanessa.
Thank you, Larry. I was in a great group. It was wonderful. It was very nurturing. And this is my third meeting. And throughout the week, I've just been, and even here, I just hear more for myself. I've come up with just ideas about how else, where else I can use this information, right? And of course, the answer is the world, the entire world. So I'm just grateful for what Edwin has done here, and just trying to set this world on fire with empathy. And I think that this is beautiful. So thank you.
Thank you, TJ. Vanessa, and then it will be Sarah.
I deeply appreciated that I was able to share some deep trauma and to be listened to with deep empathy. And I was able to share great joy and to be heard and have that triumph welcomed and shared with the height of joy as well, that all of me is welcome. And I just want to acknowledge the spectacular women in the group. It is that warm, aware attention that is the give and take, that is the body of empathy. It's a wonderful experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. And Sarah, and then it'll be Denise after Sarah.
I want to thank everyone. It was incredible, very moving. Knowing things is wonderful. We all love knowledge. This was an aha moment of an experience to understand. Now I understand because I'm able to verbalize it. And in turn, I get the narrative of someone telling me my story back. So it just reinforces everything, affirming everything I've expressed. So facilitating through emotional intelligence like this is quite enlightening. This will definitely move me forward towards training.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you. Denise, and then it will be Laura.
I just want to thank everyone for spending this time together today and just sharing our skills and our knowledge and experiences that we can exchange with each other. And I just found it to be a very valuable experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Denise. And Laura, and then it will be Altonia.
Hi, thank you for including me. We had a really great group, and it was really nice for me to feel included and you know, and acknowledged, and you know, and of course we're all here to, you know, be able to hear each other. So it was nice to feel that way as well. Thanks.
Thank you, Laura. Altonia. And that's it, I think.
Can
Altonia?
you guys hear me?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay. This was a great experience as usual. This was about my fourth or fifth time attending the training. I'm just looking forward to really utilizing this in my community to help reduce the violence and homicide rate here.
Thank you, Altonia. And Edwin, do I turn it over to you now?
Well, I think we have enough time for the facilitators, so we still
All
have
right.
8 minutes. I could call on them. Mhm.
All right, facilitators, here's your 30 seconds of fame. Facilitators, Linda, would you please share, unmute and go ahead and share for about 30 seconds.
Thank you for reminding me to unmute. As usual, it was a good group. We had one newbie in the bunch who caught on very quickly. And so we had some good discussion. The one topic that was brought up that everybody kind of latched onto was confidentiality. So it's always good information in these groups.
Thank you, Linda. And Kathy, and then Bill.
Yes, so I always leave here with my heart full, and the group that I had was just very easy, and we all shared, and yeah, I feel calm and peaceful, and my heart feels beautiful. So thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. And Bill, and then Celine.
Yeah, I just want to express my appreciation. We have, as a species, a tremendous undertaking to really change the way we look at our world and look at each other. And this is a wonderful first step to do that. And I just celebrate the bravery and of each of you to come and to try this. Thanks.
Thank you, Bill. And Celine.
Well, as usual, I loved our group. We were women, 2 women of color, 2 white women, and we were able to share very intimately, both about personal issues and social issues. And it was enriching and very touching for me. I feel very grateful.
Thank you, Celine. And Edwin, would you share?
Yeah, I just love the sense of the feeling of connection. It's like, I just see this part as for humanity. We're just tapping into our basic human capacity for understanding each other. And this is just one nice first step for doing that. That's very accessible. And it just creates a nice feeling, just that sense of connection and mutual understanding feels great.
Thank you, Edwin. And I hope I called on everyone. If I missed anyone, please raise your hand and I will share that in the circle that we did was just amazing. It's just, I just really have to acknowledge Edwin for putting this together and continuing to present it like this, openly, freely for everyone to come and enjoy this. And, I use the expression to taste this water. It really quenches the thirst that we didn't even know we had. So it's truly miraculous. I can't say enough about it. So I'll stop and say thank you all.
Okay. Well, thanks, Larry. And so I just say that the idea is that you take this practice and spread it, that you become a facilitator, and that we create this, momentum to, bring it to the politicians, bring it to your family, bring it to your community. And if we can just get people talking to each other and listening to each other, it's the core of emotional healing, of well-being, general well-being. It's core to conflict mediation. A lot of mediators here. It's a core practice for mediation, as well as any kind of problem solving and design, that if you're wanting to design solutions to the problems, you need to understand where people are and what their felt experience is, to kind of work together with them to do problem solving. So I'm so grateful for y'all being here. I'll just post into the chat here. There's the next cohort. 12D will be in this time slot in, I think it's November 20th it starts. So you can click on that and sign up for the cohort. It's starting to fill quickly. So, and then there's also a link to the a feedback form. If you could actually like click on that right now to, if you just click on it, take a second, click on the feedback form, and it'll pop up, you know, a Google feedback form, and you just go in there, write in your email and your name, and it's just a way for us to stay in contact. We can add you to the overall email list that we have, and just you can indicate, you know, if you're wanting to take the training. It's just a way for us to, you know, connect with you and get any sort of feedback for improvements for this this session too, these intro. So we'll be back again next Saturday and for the next 8 Saturdays or so with these intro cafes. So please join us on Thursdays. Bill is also hosting intro. I want to say a few words about the education Empathy Cafe. You're muted.
Yeah, I'm trying to get empathy circles into schools because I think this is really has the most chance of really changing our world if our kids learn to do this when they grow up. And so here's my information. If you're interested, if you're going to do something and you just want my support, I have various strategies to use this if you just don't have the 2 hours or you have something else or if it's a different environment. So thanks, Edwin, for that. And good luck with all your endeavors.
Okay, and we'd like to end the call with just some twinkle fingers or jazz hands just as a group and to say goodbye. So see you next week. Look forward to seeing you and thanks for having been here. Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Good people.
Thank you. See you next time.
Vanessa,
Yes.
Laura, Sarah, Aaron, Kevin,
Enjoy the
Bye.
weekend.
Denise,
Wonderful.
Sergio, Annie.
Nos vemos.
Marcio.
Bye. Thank you.
Adios.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
guys.
Celine.
Linda.
Adios.